Ilia Topuria, I believe, is definitely next. You put him up there because Islam needs a new face. And I honestly, I believe this is the biggest fight that you can make for Islam, and I think Islam deserves that.
The UFC lightweight division is in chaos, with legends like Kamaru Usman, Daniel Cormier, and Michael Bisping pushing bold matchups to determine Makhachev's next challenger.
Henry, my man, it's a lot going on in that lightweight division. These dudes is talking. There's a lot of activity. There's a lot of beefs. It's a lot of plexing going on.
I don't know that Islam should fight him first. For Makhachev, he goes and beats Ilia Topuria, right? People will say he beat Volk, he beat Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, and Renato Moicano. Seems pretty good. That's 5 title fight wins. But in that, it would say, well, he's defended the belt 3 times against featherweights. Because at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't matter what you do or in high regard you hold someone. The fact that he was the champion in a lower weight class is what's going to be pointed to the moment Islam beats him.
The type of fighter that Islam Makhachev is, yes, okay, granted, he wants a shot at becoming a 2-weight champion, but he's going to have to wait for a while because of Bilal. So in the meantime, you take out Ilia Topuria, which would be an absolutely blockbuster fight.
The UFC's lightweight division is experiencing a wave of exciting matchups, with several of the top contenders vying for the opportunity to challenge Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title. While the path forward remains unclear, Kamaru Usman recently shared his thoughts on how the division could unfold, offering a series of fantastic matchups. Usman, along with Henry Cejudo, put forward their perspectives on the future of the 155-pound weight class, and UFC veterans like Daniel Cormier and Michael Bisping have also weighed in, each suggesting their own blueprint for the division's next steps.
Obviously, Ilia has been teasing there's going to be an announcement, a fight's going to happen, and also there's been a little back and forth between the highlight, Justin Gaethje, and Arman Tsarukyan.
Kamaru Usman is no stranger to the spotlight, and he sees some thrilling fights on the horizon for lightweight fans. He believes that the next title fight should see Makhachev defending his belt against Justin Gaethje. Gaethje is one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC, and a clash between him and Makhachev would certainly deliver fireworks. Usman also suggested that Dustin Poirier, who is nearing retirement, should face Max Holloway for a 3rd time. Despite Poirier already having 2 victories over Holloway, a 3rd fight between these two would still capture the imagination of fans, especially with the added intrigue of the BMF title. He said, "If I had to put my bracket together, I would have to say that Islam Makhachev is fighting Justin Gaethje. And after that, if you want to give a fantastic fight for Dustin Poirier, the retirement fight, why don't we do the 3rd one with Max Holloway?" In Usman's bracket, he also highlighted an intriguing rematch between Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira. This matchup is particularly compelling given their previous encounter was close, and with both fighters possessing elite skill sets, it would be an interesting battle of styles. Finally, Usman proposed that the winner of Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett should take on Dan Hooker. The stakes would be high for both sides, as the winner would solidify their place in the top tier of the lightweight division.
I would do Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira, and then I would probably do winner of Chandler versus Pimblett against Dan Hooker. I would do that.
For the highly popular Ilia Topuria, Usman suggested a fight with Mateusz Gamrot, a relentless wrestler known for his grappling prowess. Topuria, having dominated in the featherweight division, has now moved up to lightweight, and Usman believes that matching him against a wrestler of Gamrot's caliber would be a true test of his skills. The challenge of facing a fighter who is likely to take him down could expose new facets of Topuria's game, as the Georgian fighter is relatively untested on his back. He said, "And Ilia Topuria gets Mateusz Gamrot. The one thing that we don't see often is Ilia Topuria on his back. Now give him a relentless wrestler who is very successful in the lightweight division." It didn't take long for Gamrot to respond to the pound-for-pound suggestion, writing on X, "That's right, champ, small guys, always great idea." Henry Cejudo offered his own perspective on how the lightweight division could be shaped. While he largely agreed with Usman's ideas, Cejudo presented some variations, particularly in his view on Poirier's retirement fight. Cejudo also sees the potential of a showdown between Poirier and Ilia Topuria, especially considering the difficulty in identifying a clear-cut top contender in the division. Cejudo pointed out that Poirier's next opponent should be someone who could challenge him in a meaningful way, and Topuria, with his move to lightweight, could be the right fighter for that.
The UFC is not the Olympics. Let's get that number one. That's the only reason why I'm bringing that stuff, because it's all about entertainer. I mean, how many people have become UFC champions just based on...
Cejudo also suggested that a rematch between Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira could be a solid option, though he emphasized that Tsarukyan should be given a second chance after his unfortunate withdrawal from UFC 311. With Oliveira's return to the division and Tsarukyan looking to prove himself again, this rematch would be one of the more fascinating bouts to schedule. Cejudo also mentioned that depending on how Paddy Pimblett fares in his upcoming fight, he could very well find himself in the title conversation, especially if he continues his run of viral finishes. Henry said, "Everything is still puzzled a little bit, but depending on what Paddy does, I do feel like he can sneak in there. Maybe not, but he could sneak in there and get that title shot. The 155-pound division is so good that you could match up any of these guys with each other, and it'd all make sense." Despite all the excitement in the lightweight division, UFC President Dana White has been cautious about making any definitive decisions regarding Islam Makhachev's next title defense. The uncertainty stems from the fact that no fighter has fully cemented themselves as the clear #1 contender. Although the UFC initially had Arman Tsarukyan lined up as Makhachev's next challenger, a last-minute withdrawal caused White to reconsider, and now the division feels a bit in limbo.
UFC, some crazy stuff went down with Ilia moving up to lightweight, vacating the title. You weren't able to announce it then, but is it safe to say that Ilia Islam is the fight that we're sort of working towards, or could he be fighting?
There's still other possibilities, so there's a lot of shit going on right now. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have said.
Daniel Cormier provided a solution to this problem. Cormier suggested that the UFC should immediately book a title fight between Makhachev and Topuria, while also setting up a #1 contenders match between Gaethje and Tsarukyan. In Cormier's view, this would establish a clear path for the division. Topuria, having vacated his featherweight title and moving up to lightweight, could be a worthy challenger to Makhachev, and a fight between Gaethje and Tsarukyan would be a brutal and exciting showdown, further clearing the path for the next title contender. He said, Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. Yes, book it. Gaethje versus Tsarukyan. Book it. Whoever wins fights Makhachev. That's it. Right there. That's it. Topuria gets the shot. Tsarukyan, Gaethje. Winner gets the title fight. We're back in line at 155. Michael Bisping also shared his thoughts on the lightweight situation. Bisping, a former middleweight champion, offered a more simplified perspective. He believes that Makhachev's next title defense should be against Ilia Topuria. Bisping argued that Topuria's meteoric rise in the UFC, his skill set, and the fact that he vacated his featherweight title to pursue a lightweight run make him a natural contender. While many may view Topuria's one-fight experience at 155 pounds as a red flag, Bisping sees it as an opportunity to give Topuria a fast track to the title. He believes that with the division in flux, Topuria deserves the shot for making the jump and relinquishing his title in the featherweight division.
Charles, Justin, sure, they'd all be phenomenal fights, and they'd all have a realistic chance of potentially beating Ilia Topuria. Granted, Ilia is special. I'm not saying that he's not. But if he lost to them, there's a massive market opportunity lost there, because Ilia versus Islam, Ilia with the rise, Ilia still being in a lot of people's minds the featherweight champion against the lightweight champion, there's something there. And yeah, if he loses to Gaethje, but then 2-3 fights later gets a shot, it's not quite the same sell. The public wouldn't be quite as still invested. So I think they're going to give him the title fight. I think Islam's going to take it.
Despite Bisping's endorsement, Makhachev himself has expressed reservations about facing another featherweight turned lightweight. His team has suggested that a fight with Topuria would resemble his previous contests against smaller fighters like Alexander Volkanovski.
One guy that keeps talking about you also is Ilia Topuria. Do you have a message for him? He really wants to fight you next year.
No, man. I'm tired to give chance the small guys, you know. I need my second belt, you know. It's nothing excited. He's a good fighter, he's a good skills fighter, but I don't want to give him chance.
In the middle of all these discussions, Alexander Volkanovski himself weighed in with his thoughts on the potential Topuria-Makhachev title fight. Volkanovski, who has fought both Makhachev and Topuria, sees the fight as an intriguing clash of styles. While he respects Makhachev's dominance and technical prowess, Volkanovski admitted that Topuria has the potential to cause problems for Makhachev, especially if he can land a knockout blow. Volkanovski pointed out that the only way he sees Makhachev losing to anyone is if that person catches him with a clean shot, and Topuria certainly has the power to do so. Volkanovski acknowledged that the fight would be dangerous for Makhachev, especially in the early rounds, but noted that the lightweight champion's grappling and composure would likely carry him through.
Islam going to be a hard man to beat for anyone. The fact that he's vacated, I think it's fair. He sort of deserves it. I think the only chance of him losing is someone knocking him out, right? Like, I think everyone has a puncher's chance. I think that's the only way I see him really losing. And if anyone could do it, it is Ilia. Ilia's obviously got some dangerous hands, but you know he's composed, and even if things aren't going his way, he's going to keep looking for it until he does or until he loses. And maybe if the gas tank goes, we'll see when he starts, them later rounds with someone like Islam. Early on, the first 3 rounds, he's going to be dangerous. You don't want to be getting caught by any of those punches. So if anyone could catch him, I think Ilia's right up there for a chance.
Finally, Charles Oliveira, who has been waiting for his chance to reclaim the lightweight throne, also weighed in on the situation. Oliveira welcomed a potential fight against Topuria, but issued a stern warning. Oliveira, who has fought at lightweight for years, made it clear that he believes Topuria, despite his impressive featherweight resume, would need to prove himself in the more challenging lightweight division. Oliveira's jiu-jitsu and striking power make him a formidable opponent for anyone, including Topuria, and he believes that he could knock the Georgian fighter out if given the chance. He said, "Whoever I get told to fight, I'm going to fight. I have nothing but respect for Ilia Topuria, but this is lightweight. It's the most difficult division you have ever seen, and I have power in my hands. I believe in my jiu-jitsu, but I believe that I could knock Ilia Topuria out." Not everyone shares the enthusiasm for Topuria's sudden jump to lightweight. Paddy Pimblett has been one of his loudest critics, dismissing his move as an attempt to avoid tougher challenges at featherweight. Pimblett is skeptical of the reasoning behind the decision, arguing that Topuria's relatively small frame makes the move unnecessary. He believes that rather than defending his title against the top contenders in his own division, Topuria may have opted to leave featherweight to avoid dangerous matchups. He said, "I was thinking, wow, you're stupid. Why have you moved up to this division? Like, he's tiny. He's like 5 feet 5 inches, 5 feet 6. I don't understand why, like, he dares to call me fat when he's saying he can't make 145 anymore when he's a midget. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I think he ran from 145, to be honest." Michael Chandler echoes some of Pimblett's doubts, questioning whether Topuria is truly prepared for the level of competition at lightweight. While Chandler acknowledges Topuria's confidence, he suspects that the primary reason for the move is his struggles to make 145 pounds rather than a genuine desire to challenge himself in a new division. He remains unconvinced that Topuria is ready for the elite lightweights who have already established themselves.
He is not the featherweight champ because the dude is so confident in himself that he vacated the belt to come up to 155. I mean, that's a pretty ballsy move, right? Conventional wisdom says, hang on to the belt, go up, try your hand at 155, and then come back down. So that in and of itself is spectacular. So we'll see, man. He thinks he's going to do well at 155. Obviously, that's a fight that I would love to have. We'll see how it all shakes out. Who he fights first in the division. Does he fight Islam for the title? Does Islam go up? There's rumors of that going on. There's a lot of stuff happening at this 45, 55, 170. I think three of the most exciting divisions in the UFC, 155 being the most exciting division.
Coming to the predictions for Islam versus Ilia, Dominic Cruz believes Ilia Topuria's best shot at defeating Islam Makhachev lies in his ability to control distance and force the champion onto the back foot. He sees a clear path to victory if Topuria can keep the fight standing, dictate the range, and successfully defend takedowns. By pressuring Makhachev with striking and nullifying his wrestling, Cruz thinks Topuria can create an opportunity to disrupt the champion's rhythm and score an upset. He stated, he has the tools. It's keep it on the feet, dictate the range, and keep Makhachev on his heels. If you keep Makhachev moving back with good striking defense and he's able to stuff a couple of the takedowns, I think he can get the momentum going in his favor and give himself a really good chance. Bilal Muhammad views the situation differently. He sees much of the excitement surrounding Topuria as a result of fans hoping for a fresh face to dethrone the dominant lightweight champion. While he acknowledges Topuria's talent, he believes the featherweight title holder still has more to prove before earning a shot at Makhachev. In his opinion, defeating a top-ranked lightweight such as Charles Oliveira or Dustin Poirier would be the true test of whether Topuria belongs in title contention at 155 pounds. Until then, Muhammad feels the hype may be premature.
What are your thoughts on Ilia coming up and how lightweight looks with Islam kind of teasing or maybe moving up at some point.
Everybody's calling for Ilia. Then you look at the comments and all of them are like, well, he's only fought in featherweights. And then he goes out there and he beats Ilia. And
he's also scared of Ilia, according to those same people.
Exactly, right? And then he's going to go out there and be like, oh, well, we told you that Ilia was too small. And Ilia could always go back down and say, oh, well, yeah, you know, it wasn't good enough for me. But for Islam, for him to keep building his legacy, people are going to, they want to just see them lose, right? They want to see that team lose. And then you saw it with like Umar. It was such a good fight, such a close fight, but everybody's acting like he got killed because they just want to see that team lose. People hate greatness. People hate success, and they'd rather see you fail. But for Islam, they don't really care about that. They don't hear that noise. I think if Ilia goes out there and he fights like a Charles or even a DDP and he gets the win, there's no denying him, right? You have to get the title shot.
On the other hand, Beneil Dariush is fully in favor of Topuria's move to lightweight and sees no issue with him receiving an immediate title shot. He believes Topuria's dominance at featherweight, combined with his willingness to test himself in a higher weight class, makes him a legitimate contender. With the UFC ruling out Arman Tsarukyan as the next challenger, Dariush considers Topuria a logical replacement. He views the Spaniard's undefeated record and recent performances as proof that he belongs in the mix, even suggesting that his credentials at this moment may be stronger than Oliveira's. He said, "You can't really disagree with it, because he became champion, he defended his belt, and he's just like, hey, I'm too big, I don't want to make this weight cut anymore, so I want to fight 55. I wouldn't be against him fighting for 155, especially since the UFC said they're not going to allow Arman Tsarukyan to have his fight for the title. So if Arman's not getting the title shot, Charles Oliveira, I understand he's supposed to be the #1 contender, but I would say Ilia's credentials are better at this moment. He's riding quite the win streak, so I definitely wouldn't be like, oh, this is a mistake. They shouldn't have this fight." Aljamain Sterling has analyzed the potential matchup between Makhachev and Topuria, recognizing both fighters' high-level fight IQs and adaptability. While he acknowledges Makhachev's superior wrestling and submission skills, he believes Topuria's striking speed and use of calf kicks could create problems for the lightweight champion. In Sterling's assessment, the fight could be more competitive than many expect, with Topuria's explosiveness posing a real threat early on.
The speed advantage, Ilia Topuria, boxing speed, boxing punches, Ilia Topuria. Calf kicks, which is a very dangerous weapon. I think Ilia Topuria uses those way better than Islam Makhachev. I don't think Makhachev really throws kicks like calf kicks or leg kicks. Wrestling, control, and submissions, I'm going to lean towards Islam Makhachev. Fight IQ, that's hard. Both guys are really, really good. I think they're neck and neck. It's hard for me to pick.
In conclusion, the UFC's lightweight division is filled with a wealth of talent and intriguing matchups. From Kamaru Usman's exciting proposed bracket to Daniel Cormier's suggestion for clarity, the direction for the division remains fluid. With Islam Makhachev at the top, contenders like Gaethje, Oliveira, Tsarukyan all have a stake in who gets the next shot at the lightweight crown. So what are your thoughts about this? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.